Hi, welcome to Database Management System video lecturing. Myself Ranganatha K, Assistant Professor, Department of Information Science and Engineering, Canara Engineering College, Mangaluru. From this video, we are discussing the following topics. First topic is when not to use a DBMS, database system concepts and architecture, schemas, instances and database state, 3 schema architecture, and last topic is data independence. Now we will try to discuss about the when not to use a DBMS. Means, so whenever based on the organization requirement, either a small scale industry or large scale industry or small company or a big company, based on their requirement specification, they may go for to use a DBMS, or else they may not go for a using the DBMS. So if the database or data they can maintain within without using of the DBMS, it is also fine. So if some such organizations are there, so in that case they don't want to invest more amount on the DBMS software. So now we will discuss about when not to use a DBMS. The overhead cost of using DBMS are due to the following. When we want to implement a DBMS software, so we need first and foremost thing, we need a cost. When you want to implement it in your organization, or else you want to implement it for your alliance partners also, then so there are n number of advantages are there using a DBMS. But so along with that, there is a cost, overhead cost is there to maintain the DBMS, to implement the DBMS, to share, to maintain the concurrency control in the DBMS. So those are all some of the overhead costs are there to maintain the DBMS. But some of the organization they don't want to invest more cost on the DBMS. Therefore, it is a overhead cost of using DBMS, that is one of the major issue to implement DBMS technique or technology in their organization. High initial investment in hardware, software and training, because we need a high investment whenever we want to first time if you want to build a database software or database system in your organization, then initial investment for a hardware and software, so it is mandatory, and as well as the training for the employees, those who are managing and maintaining that database software is required. So there we have to invest a more cost on that. Then second point is the generality that a DBMS provides for defining and as well as processing the data. So the generality is nothing but DBMS will provides for defining and as well as processing. In case if processing and defining of a database is not required, then don't go for to use the DBMS software. And overhead for providing the security, concurrency control, recovery and integrity functions. So apart from that, we are also needs to invest a cost on providing the security. So whenever there is an alliance partner, when you want to share your data with alliance partners or some other users, then we need a security, we need a database security, and as well as concurrency control. Their multi-user transactions are undergoing, we need to apply a concurrency control for that. So if is there any hardware failure and software failure occurred, then there should be a capacity to recovery that hardware failure and software failure. And then some of the integrity functions are also required to implement or to invest inside the DBMS software. So these are the basic 3 points why organization will not go for a DBMS software. Therefore, it may be a more desirable to use regular files under the following circumstances. Therefore, the organization what they are doing means they are not going with the DBMS software, they are going with the file processing system or regular file systems. So in which circumstances they are using a file processing or a regular file system means when simple, well-defined database applications that are not expected to change at all. That is nothing but whenever we are storing the data, so inside the database or inside the file, it is not required to manipulate the data or else update the data, and also we don't want to modify anything whichever the data is stored inside the database. In that case, the file processing system is uh, enough. Then second point is it is stringent real-time requirement for some application programs that may not be met because of the DBMS overhead. So it is very difficult whenever you don't want to use your database for a real-time requirement specification or application purpose, then it is not required to use a DBMS software. And one more point is embedded systems with limited storage capacity where a general purpose DBMS would not fit. When we are using a embedded systems, so with a limited storage capacity where so general purpose DBMS will not fit, in that case also we are not using. No multi-user access is required for your data, then so it's not mandatory to use a DBMS software. Okay, these are the some of the points when we are not using our DBMS. The next topic is database system concepts and architecture. Under this database system concept and architecture, we are going to learn about the topic data models, schemas and instances. Now we will start with the data model, schemas and instances topic. In that, so basically we will move to the meaning of the data abstraction. What is the meaning of data abstraction? The data abstraction generally refers to the suppression of details of data organization and storage and the highlighting of the essential feature for an improved understanding of data. Means here the data abstraction is nothing but we are going to hide the details of the data organization and as well as storage structure, where we are storing the data, how we are storing the data, that will be hidden under the data abstraction as per the definition of data abstraction. And under this data abstraction, just we are highlighting the essential features for an improved understanding of the data. Just we are highlighting the essential feature to understand essential data. So what data we are extracting, where we need to store that data, just we are highlighting that. And second definition is a data model. A data model is nothing but it is a collection of concepts that can be used to describe the structure of a database, which provides the necessary means to achieve this abstraction. Generally, a data model is nothing but it is a collection of concepts that can be used to describe the structure of the database, that we are calling it as a data model. And also it provides, the data model will also provides so necessary to achieve this data abstraction. I told, so data model will also provides the facility so to do the or else to suppress the details of the data organization and storage. So that is about data abstraction and data model. Next is category of data model. There are basically two category of data models are there. First one, high level or conceptual data model. Second one is low level or physical data model. High level or conceptual data model means it provides the concepts that are close to the way many users perceive the data. Means where the users are inserting the value into the database. After that, so we need to understand whatever the data has been entered by the many users, that we need to understand and then we need to extract those data. That will be done under the high level or conceptual data model. Means it provides the concepts so very close to the many users, so how they will going to understand, based on that they will be inserting the value into the database. Next, second point is low level or physical data model. Low level or physical data model it deals with the storage. So where we are storing the data into the data structure, that is a storage on a computer storage media. So we are talking about the physical data model where data organization and storage structure we are maintaining. So this is about your data model definition and category of data model. The next third layer, representational data model or implementational data model. Under this, which provides the concepts that may be easily understood by the end user, and also representational data model will hide many details of the data storage on disk but can be implemented on a computer system directly. Here under the representational or implementational data model, so which will be easily understood by the end users, okay, that kind of concepts will be provided under this representational or implementational data model. And under this model, we are going to hide the details of the data storage on the disk, but it can be implemented on a computer system directly. This is about your three levels of the data model or three different set of data model. One is conceptual data model, logical data model, and so representational data model. Then next we will move to the schemas, instances, and database state. What is meant by a database schema? The database schema can be defined. It is the description of the database is called the database schema, which is specified during the database design. For example, so the data, let us consider a student database. Student is the database. Student name, student USN, student date of birth, student email ID. These are all the description of that particular data or database. That is, we are calling it as a database schema. A displayed schema is called a schema diagram. You can see from this diagram here the student is there. Student is having a student name, student number, class, major. These are all we are calling it as a description of the database or database schema. Student we are calling it as a database. So similarly you can go for course, prerequisites, section, grade report. These are all we are calling it as a database where the course name, course number, credit hours, course number, prerequisite number, section identifier, semester, year, instructor, and grade, section identifier, student number. These are all we are calling it as a description of their database with respect to that. So this is about your database schema and schema diagram. The schema diagram is nothing but, so this is the schema diagram where we are writing the schema name and as well as along with that a database description, that we are calling it as a schema diagram, how we are representing. Next one is, so we call each object in the schema such as student or course, we are calling it as a schema construct, and the data in the database at a particular moment in time we are calling it as data state, or we are also calling it as snapshot. It is also called the current set of occurrences or instances in the database. The distinction between database schema and database state is very important. Why? Because the database schema is nothing but it is the description of the database, we are calling it as a database schema, but in case of database state is nothing but a data in the database at a particular moment, we are calling it as a database state. When we define a new database, we need to specify a database schema only to the DBMS. Okay. So whenever we want to design a particular database like student database or hospital management database or a college database, then we need to specify a database schema first. The database state, so there are basically three states of DBMS are there. One is empty state, one is initial state, and third one is valid state. The empty state is nothing but, So only the architecture of database is created, but there is no any values in that particular database, then we are calling it as empty state. Initial state is nothing but at the particular moment, if you want to insert the data, then cursor position will be locating at a point. That is what we are calling it as the initial state, where a user wants to insert a data into the database, or else a different set of users are operating from that current location. Valid state is nothing but either, so whatever the data or values you are entered into the database, whether that is a valid, it is in the valid state or invalid state, we need to identify. So for that, so these are the three data states are there. What is meant by a data state? Data state is nothing but a data in a database system at a particular moment in time, we are calling it as a data state. There are three data states are there. One is empty state, one is initial state, and third one is valid state. The DBMS, which stores the description of the schema, construct, and as well as constraints, we are also calling it as metadata, or else we are also calling it as a description of the data, where we are describing self description of the total database will be done under this metadata. So totally two types of storage medias are there. One is metadata, one is actual data. So in the metadata, just we are storing the description of the schema constructs and as well as constraints of the each and every schemas. This is the architecture, tree schema architecture diagram. You can see here there are end users are there, conceptual schema is there, internal schema is there, where we are supposed to store the data into the database. That from this diagram there are three levels we are splitted, therefore we are calling it as a three schema. One is external level, second one is conceptual level, and third one is internal level. Now we will start in detail about the each and every level. The mapping which exists in between two levels, that is external and conceptual mapping in between the external level and as well as conceptual level. Second type of mapping will be occurred between the conceptual level and as well as internal level, that we are calling it as conceptual as or internal mapping. Now we will see one by one levels. The internal level has an internal schema, so which describes the physical storage structure of the database. So where internal level will includes the internal schema. So basically that internal schema is related to a storage structure or description of the database and total storage of the database. So that is comes under the internal level. Conceptual level. Second one is conceptual level. The conceptual level has a conceptual schema, so which describes the structure of the whole database for a community of users. Means, so here this conceptual schema, so will going to describes the structure of the database and as well as, so for a different set of community of users. Different community of users are nothing but, I told there are different set of end users are there, sophisticated end users, parametric end users, casual end users. With respect to community of users, the structure of whole database structure will going to describe for the community of users. That is a working principle of the conceptual schema or conceptual level. And also, so the conceptual schema will hides the details of the physical storage structure, and it will concentrates on describing the entities, data types, relationships, user operations and constraints. This is also a second working of a conceptual schema or conceptual level, where it hides the details of the physical storage structure, and just it will be concentrating by describing entities. Entities are nothing but database or table names. Data types are nothing but SQL data types, int, float, double char, or else numeric type data types or boolean data types or time data type. So what type of data types we are using for that entities. And relationships are nothing but how we are provided a relationship between two or more number of tables. That is nothing but primary key constraint, foreign key constraint, cardinality ratio constraint that we have applying. And user operations, what type of operations are used by the users, like inserting, deleting, updating, modifying, fetching the data and filtering the data, and as well as constraints. These are all the details will be concentrated on, or else description will be maintained by under the conceptual level schema. In the external level or view level, which is includes a number of external schema or user view. So how the user will be viewing our database or using our database, that depends on the external level or view level. Each external level schema will describes the part of the database that a particular user group is interested in and hides the rest of the database from that users. That is nothing but I told, based on the type of users, the external schema will also works, that will going to describe the part of the database, not fully database. And based on the set of particular user group, what type of user group it is and where they are interested in our database, and based on that it will going to hide the rest of the database from that user group. These are the three levels of the architecture of your DBMS and their explanation. Now we will move to the second one more topic which comes under that, that is data independence. What is meant by a data independence in the DBMS? The data independence can be defined as follows: the capacity to change the schema at one level of a database system without having to change the schema at the next higher level. It means whenever we want to do any changes in one schema level or else schema at one level in the database, but it should not get reflected to their higher level. That is nothing but, for example, I will tell you, if I want to do any modification in the lower level, okay, then it should not get reflected to their conceptual level. That is what a meaning of data independence. This is about data independence definition. Now there are two types of data independence are there. One is logical data independence and second one is physical data independence. First we will discuss about what is meant by a logical data independence. The logical data independence means it is the capacity to change the conceptual schema without having to change the external schema or application program. Means whenever we want to do any modification or else we want to change the schema in the conceptual level, but it should not affect or it should not reflect to their application program or external schema. It means without reflecting to external schema, so we have to change. So if you are changing, then we are calling it as a logical data independence. Then similarly, the physical data independence. The physical data independence means it is the capacity to change the internal schema without having to change the conceptual schema. Means whenever we are doing any modification in the internal level or internal schema, it should not have to change the conceptual schema. So that is about your logical data independence and as well as physical data independence and the definition of data independence.